Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing tonight? Coming to you live from the great state of Alabama, Lake Gunnersville, to be precise. You guys ever heard of Lake Gunnersville, Alabama? I hear there's quite the fishing hole over here across the road. It is a gorgeous place. My family's from this area. My dad's family's from this area. My sister's from this area. Um, it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous here. I don't get down here as much as I used to. Definitely not. And when I'm here, it's usually brief. Um, we arrived tonight about 10 minutes before game time. Stepped on the floor, played a game, had about 30 minutes off, played another game, and checked in our hotel. It's been a long night. I've had a few phone calls, um, but we are here. We are enjoying ourselves. These boys are making memories. We won one. We lost one. Um, but like I said, we're playing up a grade level for the most part to try to get better. Um, we want to, when we roll into the national tournament in June, we want to come in there as good as we can possibly be. And by doing that, it's by playing the best possible competition, even if it means playing older, stronger kids. And that's what we do. Uh, Winning and losing is, of course, important in the grand scheme of things as far as, you know, what the ultimate goal is. But to get there, you have to get better. And that's what we try to do. Um, so, how is everybody? I'm seeing Leslie B. How are you? Are you the Leslie B. who sent me a friend request on Facebook that I just accepted? Um, you don't have to answer that if you think it might dox you in any way. Um, Hello, Banner B. Chaotic Beauty and Crime, Arkansas. Julie Walker. Have a little conversation going forward. But before the program kicked off tonight with Danny Mitchell, um, apparently there's more than one breakup going on the YouTube streets, right? Prayer Garden breaking up with Ernie. You never know who's going to get the axe on the YouTube streets. And I'm going to cover a little bit of the YouTube drama. I'm not going to, throw myself into it too far, and because I'm going to be honest with you, it's been so peaceful not being part of it. You just have no idea, no idea. And yeah, the chat numbers have been low, but the overall views have been the same pretty much. So I understand that it's midnight or later. Um, so we're getting off to a late start, and that will affect a lot of the. And let's be honest. Um, a lot of the drama is what people see, what people want to see. So that's what they're going to tune into first, and that's okay. You know, I mean, I'm guilty of. I used to watch Jerry Springer. I mean, it was just not. I didn't watch it for the entertainment value. I watched it because it was just fun to watch a bunch of idiots act like idiots, and that's what's been happening on YouTube. Um, and I took part in that some. I'm not saying I didn't. Uh, Thank you, Julie Walker. I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that. Um, I haven't I haven't heard from Josh um, about his grandmother's surgery. So that may be good news. Yeah. They say no news is good news. Have you ever heard that? I've always heard that. No news is good news. Had some terrible hail damage in Arkansas. Baseball sized hail. Woo! That's some big hail balls. Baseball sized hail. Woo, doggy. I know golf ball size hail is huge. It's just extremely large. And you imagine that stuff falling from the sky and smashing into your car or you. It's dangerous. Mother Nature is swift, man, and it has no, you know, I don't know. It doesn't pick favorites. If you're in Mother Nature's way, then you go down. That's just the way it is. Um, but like I said, I do want to address a little bit of the drama myself. Still throwing out initials here. Let me check these. Let me check these messages. And I'm just going to tell you, I'm not showing my self tonight. I'm going to show my avatar because um, I have my sweatpants on, but I don't have a shirt on. I'm in a hotel room with two of my children, my son Hunter being one of those. And so, we are, slumming it in a hotel room. So I don't want you guys to see, you know, us slumming. But so there's nothing hidden other than my ugly face and my moobs. um, Check these messages. I don't want to miss somebody. Oh, is Aaron doing the drawing for the hat tonight? I'd say old boy's got 600-700 people over there, don't he? There's all kinds of and we used to call them the panty brigade. Put a one in the chat if you've ever heard that term of reference to the ladies who followed old Ern and his escapades on Facebook and then YouTube, and they were referred to as the panty brigade. Um, but they used to have some quite large numbers. So I'm sure. Let me see. Jump in there and see what they've got going over there. Like I said, I'm sure it's pretty decent numbers. Um, I don't even see. Boy, for me and him to be working so closely together, you'd think I'd have like uh, his name would pop up in my search bar, right? Live now, 409 people. Yeah, Ern's got a big old following over there giving that hat away. So there's that, and good luck to everybody whoever wins that hat. I don't even know how you clean a leather hat. Like I've got a couple leather hats, but I've never worn them enough to actually uh, need a cleaning. Um, I would assume you'd have to have those professionally cleaned with that leather and stuff, right? And does anybody know? Does anybody know how to clean a leather hat? Um, does anybody know if the hat's leather? Come on, people! I want answers. um, you know, um, Somebody wanted to come up on panel, they're more than welcome to. Like I said, now we're going to go over the trial here in just a minute. I am going to start playing some trial stuff. I've got it queued up and ready, and that's what we're doing, and we're gonna get into that and finish that thing up. Not going to finish it tonight, just impossible. But we are going to move forward with it. Hey, Mama Steph. He says it's kangaroo leather. Huh. I don't know. Does anybody know anything about kangaroo leather? Is it expensive? Um, yep, like saddles we do for our horses, saddle soap, if it's leather. Oh, I see. There you go. So Serena has a little bit of knowledge in cleaning leather for saddles. Is there such a thing as kangaroo leather? I don't know. Let's Google it right quick. Let me see. Oh, I think so. That seems like a familiar. Maybe I heard it, on the streets of YouTube. So no, Andrew says. Now quit now. Are you sure? I don't know. I'd have to. I'd have to. I'd have to get verification on that, Andrew. Um, Lord, I messed this up. All right, let's see. All right, kangaroo leather. There's kangaroo leather boots, kangaroo leather. Yeah, there's kangaroo leather. Looks relatively expensive too. Is kangaroo leather illegal? Oh, there's a question. Now if it's illegal. Oh, learn what nothing to do with it, right? Oh, Google, Serena. That's where we get our answers for pretty much everything, right? No, I'm being facetious when I say that. Um, that's actually if you live your life googling the answers and trusting Google to provide you with answers, then you're going to get burned at some point. But before we get started on the trial, there was a couple of things I wanted to. I just want to say, um, they're still throwing out initials and acting like, can't say the name. It's got to be an initial. Well, do you believe there's a gag order or not? I mean, you sit up there and say there's no gag order, but yet legal has taken over, and you feel like you have to use initials. Like, are you in? Are you out? Are you full of crap? I'm sorry if you're a K fan, but he is full of crap. The things he's calling out are things I called out 6 weeks ago on March 1st. And he still says that he's the only honest person on YouTube. No, dude. You say I'm a liar. Well, show me. Now there's a difference between being wrong and lying. If I'm wrong about something, I'll admit it. If I flat out lied about something and it's brought to my attention, then I will admit that too. I'll own up to it. Just because you call somebody a liar doesn't make them a liar, Mr. K. Okay? You're so, stricken with the integrity bug. Honestly, your integrity is, I don't know, not very good. Let's just say that. Because I know that there's this stolen velour. I know there's this stolen velour, and I know that people have been lying about crime scene photos from the beginning. I've been telling you that. So, you know, now you're all of a sudden going to, you don't believe it. So now you're going to take your high horse, your integrity horse here, and you're going to call this lady names. You and Jamie Bunnyhill, F word, F word, C word, F word. Like, dude, you realize that makes you no better than anybody else, right? The way you talk to a female is disgusting. Whether she's got stolen velour or not, she's still a female. Mr. High Horse. So what did old Forrest Gump say? That's all I'm gonna say about that. All right. You guys want to watch some trial? Bench conference. That's where we left off.
Yes,
I'm allowed to ask him things he doesn't know.
Yes, he
It sounds like he's testifying.
I'm absolutely allowed to ask him things he doesn't know.
So let Mr. Box finish.
It sounds like he's saying that you can ping cell phone towers. He said, I don't know. And he's asking, he's made the statement, you can ping cell phone towers. If he's got an expert, a witness who can say you can ping cell phone towers in eastern Kentucky and indicate where someone traveled, then he needs to put that expert on.
Right, you
I
can't
am
testify,
perfectly allowed to ask.
but you can testify.
I'm not testifying. I'm asking him what he knows. And I'm allowed to ask him what he knows and what he doesn't know.
You're allowed to
If
ask
he doesn't
him
know
if he
about
knows.
cell phone
Does he
pinging,
knows
he doesn't
how?
know, and that's a perfectly permissible question.
I don't remember the word pinging coming up in this.
I never said pinging.
You did too.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
I did not say the word pinging.
Yes, you did.
Actually, he didn't say
I said
it.
cell tower. I never said pinging. Run it back.
You said ping.
I did not say ping.
He did, didn't he?
He said ping.
Well, I think
It was
you
childish
don't
for all
know
of
what
us
he
to sit
said
up there and
anyway.
argue about
You-
ping.
you
All
can't-
of them.
you can't-
Like, that's not his area of expertise.
If you can ask him if he knows anything about tracing cell phone calls, and he doesn't know, then that's the end of the matter. But you can't inject information by questioning.
Your Honor, there's one more question I think we should be able to ask, and that's whether or not Detective Cornett made a referral to any central lab experts on cell towers. There are
Bingo.
experts
That's
in
fine.
electronic
That's fair. That's fair game.
And he's answered sort of that, but
That's
He
fair
hasn't
game.
yet, but that would, I think, will wrap everything up.
Yeah.
In terms of, just so we're clear, in terms of all of these things that are capable from a cell phone, he's not an expert, and by just simply asking him that, he would be testifying that that is possible. He's not an expert. He's not an
Yeah.
expert.
I'm not testifying.
we had
Well, if you
electronic
load your
surveillance.
question up with a lot of things like that, then it becomes it has the effect of that. And so, ask him if he knows, if he can do it, if he knows about how to trace cell phone calls, or if he's an expert in that area, if he knows, if he's technologically confident in that area. But don't say, isn't it true that you can divine the end of the world through a cell phone? That kind of thing, because you're suggesting things that aren't in
I'm
evidence.
simply asking him a question. I'm not testifying.
No, you're not simply asking. Now, you understand what I'm saying, right? Let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do it, he said. All right. We'll move on to the next. And anytime you guys want to stop and discuss or have questions and you want me to pause, let me know and we'll stop and pause and discuss, okay? Promise. This is your show. I just hosted. All right, let me go to the next.
In your investigation, you never referred Shelby's phone number or Jimbo Collins' phone number or any phone number out to an expert that might be able to get data from those phone numbers, did you?
No, the only expert that I sent a phone to was Electronic Crimes Division. Sent,
And that leads me to my next question.
I'm sorry, sir, can I?
Interviewed Mr. Shell on February 25th, 2013, right?
Michelle?
Yes.
Yes, sir, I did.
And you didn't get a search warrant for that phone until 3 years later, right?
Yes, sir. When I was instructed that I needed a search warrant for them to conduct the test.
Let me find his text messages. So Mr. Shell said, you can look at my text messages when you interviewed him in 2013, right?
I don't remember if he said that or not.
Well, we just heard it on the video, so.
Okay. It's on the video, then he didn't tell me.
Is it me or these lawyers, the KSP, both sides? Don't they act like a bunch of damn babies?
He said, it's right on the cell phone. Go back in, he calls. So we now have those cell phone records. And on February 17th, 2013, there's a text to Kiefer. Do you know who Kiefer is?
Your Honor,
No, sir.
may we approach again?
There's old coughs a lot. This is I labeled this one lame, so it's got to be something really bad. I mean, label it lame.
Yes, it was.
He was here and he testified as to what, they
No, I'm
had that.
talking about the investigation. Maybe I need to rephrase my question, but I
He's
don't mean to
asking
be
about-
testifying. I'm just talking about what he knows and how he found it out and what the timeline was.
And we
That's why.
spoke yesterday during that about using these and closing arguments, both of us. But asking this person who is not an expert about the report from the
I'm not
that's why
talking about
we
his expertise. I'm
have
talking about the text
experts.
messages and whether he followed up with what Mr. Shaw said.
Just a
Let me
moment.
add, this is a report in Mr. Cornett's case where he's the lead investigator, so it is pertinent to ask if he reviewed the report from the forensic.
I know that part. You gotta know that
Familiar
first.
with that.
You gotta know that first if he even reviewed it. He knows
If he
anything
did
that's in
review
it.
it, that will,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
save the rest of the post.
But don't go off reading stuff.
Start reading text. How
I think
can you
it's-
read text from
He
something
can
that's not
rephrase
even
the
in
question
evidence?
to make that.
And we,
Is this gonna be in evidence?
not from us, I mean.
I thought
we
yesterday
said
there was an agreement with this jointly.
We agreed to admit the,
Joint exhibit.
this,
And
and then
use
we'll
it in
use
closing
individual
argument.
report
And use
cases.
it in closing argument.
That's what we said.
But he can ask him if he's aware of it.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah. It's like wine bag. These are adult attorneys with somebody's life on the line, and defending the or trying to get justice for a family who's had their brother and their son and their uncle murdered, and they're acting like freaking babies. It's disgusting to me on all sides.
All right.
Turns out I forgot to ask a question. Did you review the report made by Mr. Rogers about Shell's cell phone?
I tried to.
You tried to?
Yeah, it's pretty in depth. I didn't really understand a lot of it. The reason I had them look at it, if they, anything they need to direct me toward, that's what they were for. I may not know how to do something, but I know a lot of people that do know how to do things. That's part of them assist me in the investigation, sir.
And you didn't have this report when you interviewed Mr. Shelton, did you?
No, sir.
And so you didn't know on the 25th that he sent text messages on February 17th, did you?
No, sir.
And you didn't know on the 25th give me a minute, there's a lot of text messages. Ernie texted Shelby.
Your Honor, continue.
You didn't know that Ernie texted Shelby
I didn't know anybody texted
on the
me.
25th.
He's testified, Your Honor.
I thought we already covered this. Well, come up here.
Right. Just a second, guys. Maybe we'll get into it. Here's another bench conference.
So far, that's not even evidence.
I didn't ask him if this was an evidence. I asked if he knew that Ernie texted Shelby.
Well, you're
And that's fine, and I was getting to the next
you're
question.
gleaning that from something that's not an evidence.
It is an evidence technically. It is on
Technically.
the drive that Mr. Rogers admitted into evidence as was.
Has it been stipulated in yet? Is it in?
The record.
It is not in the
The
record.
entire report is part of that flash drive and is in the record.
We didn't put the flash drive in. We
I
said we
thought it
were
was
going
exhibit
to.
11.
Yes, no, it's not. Yesterday, we said we were going to print it out and have it for closing arguments, is what we said. I said, well, I will
We
have
weren't
no
going to print
objection
out the whole 1,800
to closing
pages, but the
arguments.
actual disc was
And we said,
admitted
you can
evidence.
use this for closing arguments. That's what we said.
I thought we admitted the disc into
No,
evidence.
we don't have that, the disc. We took it back. Remember, I said it's got demonstrative evidence on it. It's got other files on it. You can't put the flash drive in.
Why
And we
can't you put the
agreed
flash drive in?
that we would, I said we can print it out right then and put it in. This is
It's not what I
yesterday.
asked. Why can't you put the flash drive in?
Will you not interrupt? Wait a minute. Go ahead.
Yesterday, when we had the expert actually here to talk about all this stuff, we agreed that this would be used in closing, nothing more. This man who said, I don't know, when he asked specifics about it, he said, that's why I had an expert look at this, people that could tell me about it. Now he wants to keep going and reading things into the record, which will be, did you know he texted Ernie Shell? Did you know he said this? Did you know he said that? That is the equivalent of testifying, which is, it cannot do.
The very piece of paper that council has in their hand now, they had yesterday when the crime expert, how do you say that?
The
Electronic crimes branch was here. They had the same piece of paper that he's crossing him about. It's not something that just came up yesterday. They had that yesterday when the expert was here. They had it yesterday. If they wanted to ask him, he's the one that can testify to it.
You can
What
ask.
he's asking is whether or not Detective Cornett was aware of this information when he was talking with Shelby on the 25th.
And
He's
that's
not
asked and
asking
answered.
him what happened in the report. He's asking, were you aware? Which
Is permissible.
Did you have this? Did you have the information? Did you have this report when you arrested Shelby? Was the equivalent of something he said? And he's already answered that.
I have
No,
already
he
asked
answered,
questions
he
that
didn't.
he says no to.
I didn't have it.
They can't object every time he says no.
Hey, don't argue with me. Now, if he didn't have the report down, any questions shall be sure. And he didn't, you can ask him to what extent he used it in his investigation, and did he have it when he questioned it? But don't go into details into it because right now it's not even in evidence.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't know it wasn't in evidence. I thought we put the disc in evidence. That's my bad. I wasn't up here. Didn't hear it.
we've got the tape from yesterday. And
It was not in evidence.
I thought we had it in
That's
evidence.
my
I thought
bad.
We weren't going to put
That's
the
a little video
evidence.
mistake. Oh, my bad.
And I stood right here and agreed to use this.
And Mr. Lee made the comment that there were other things on it that could be on it.
nonetheless, we can refer to these reports at closing argument, right?
Yeah.
To point out the highlighted messages that we have on our.
Mm.
You can, because we've already agreed.
I think that was the agreement, but don't ask him specifics about it, because you can ask him how, to what extent he relied on it during the investigation and whether he added when he questioned Shelby. That's all. But just don't go. It's not in evidence. All right. Okay.
Right. Try not to get no stolen velour going in here. Just kidding.
All right. Go ahead.
So I'm just going to finish talking about the cell report by saying that you didn't have this at all when you talked to Shelby.
Oh, sorry, I did not.
And in your conversation with Shelby Shell, he said, look at my phone records, basically.
I don't remember that. If you mentioned it on the video, I was not present during the taping of the video, but I do not recall him telling me that on my interview. He may have, I'm not saying he didn't say it, but I don't recall that.
There was some testimony about child support and your investigation into Shelby paying child support.
I think there was a receipt, or a
You went to the
letter.
library and got a fax.
Yes. That looks like one that I have, yes.
Can I approach?
Now, look at it.
We're talking about the same piece of paper.
Sure.
Is that the fax confirmation that you got?
Yes, sir, it's got my case number at the bottom.
Yeah.
That's in my handwriting, yes.
I got this from you. And this is a letter from Shelby Shell sent to the child support office, right?
Yes, I believe it is.
And it's basically, it ends with PS this way I don't have to show up for court 220. Thank you, Shelby Shell,
Yes, sir.
right? And there was some time about the date being wrong. The fax is from 217, but the date on the fax is 219. Is that right?
I, in fact, look at it again.
Hold on, I'm gonna give you one more piece of paper. And then I'll come up to the end.
Yes, the date and time, it says, February 17th, at 5:58.
But that note there, that's handwritten and it's signed by Shelby Shell.
Yeah, it's got a date, underneath his name, it says 219.
And I have here a copy of,
You say 19.
Yes, sir, February 19th, 2013, the handwriting.
Let me see it.
I have here a copy of a money order for CHSF, Shelby Shell. Have you seen that?
I don't know if I have or not.
You said there was a receipt for a money order in his pocket.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing it, but,
Just a quick look at the name on this one and the way Shelby signs his name and writes his name. Those are different handwritings, aren't they?
I'm not a handwriting expert, sir, but they appear to be different.
They appear to be different. Okay. And you didn't have any results back from the fingerprints on the duct tape at the time you interviewed Shelby, did you?
No, sir.
Okay. You have to bear with me here. You told Shelby, how would your fingerprints on the duct tape, how would your fingerprints get on the duct tape that was around Rodney King's face? You asked him that question, right?
I don't recall it, but when did
You
I ask
said-
him that?
If the crime lab says it's your fingerprints, it's not your fingerprints.
When did I ask him that, sir?
When you interviewed him at a job.
It may have been a ploy for me to try to get him to admit something. I don't know. I don't recall that, but I can listen to the tape interview. I can tell you whether definitively what I did or not.
And he said, basically summarizing that Ernie set him up, right?
Yes, sir.
And he mentioned a person named Amanda Brown or Amanda Cannon. Do you remember that conversation?
I remember a female's name, but I don't remember the name.
Did you ever interview an Amanda?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you interview any females based on the conversation you had with Shelby?
No.
You didn't?
No, sir.
At the time you talked to Shelby Shell, did you know that he had an intellectual disability?
No, sir.
All right, come on up here.
Oh, let's throw in the intellectual disability. The defense threw it in. Of course they did.
Come on up here. That was inappropriate.
Was
Absolutely inappropriate at this point in time. We haven't made any decisions on whether that's admissible.
On that today. You've signed a
We've had a long
order saying
conversation on
yes.
the record on that earlier, and that's inappropriate. Don't do it again. I'm going to ask the jury to ignore it.
Your Honor, you signed an order stating that he has an intellectual disability.
That took the death penalty off the paper. That took the death penalty off the
That's still a
record.
judicial.
That's not before the jury right now.
Right,
Now, you know better than that. Both of you know better than that. That's enough. All right. That's
It's
it.
absolutely, it could have influenced how he questions.
Go back to your seat.
someone.
Back.
I apologize.
Yeah, I apologize. Yeah. Slick move. Very slick.
The jury is to
Sorry,
ignore
I missed
the
it.
question about intellectual disability.
In the chat.
All right? Go ahead.
As part of your investigation, you obtained or you saw video footage.
We won our first game and lost our second game. We will have the number 2 seed in bracket play tomorrow. So somebody's asking that. I can't see the whole chat, but I'm going to open the chat up here in just a minute from my phone. That way I can be able to interact with you guys and gals.
From the Everett's funeral home, is that right?
Yes, sir, I did.
And I think there was previous testimony, but that footage from the Everett's funeral home can see Ronnie King's house. Is that right?
Yes, sir, I can.
And we actually went to the Everett's funeral home together to get a copy of that videotape. You remember that?
Yes, there was several of us went together. Yes, sir, I remember that day.
I've got that video. I'm gonna hit play for a second and then ask if it's the right video. Or can we take a break and make sure this
All right,
works?
we take a 10-minute break. Ladies and gentlemen, same admonition. Don't talk among yourselves and don't make up any, don't make up your mind on anything. Report back to me.
up the video.
We can't sit down.
Can everybody ever see this over here?
Yes.
All right. What we're gonna do over here now, start with this, put your right foot in, your left foot out. Just a minute, we'll get this. Y'all can't see that, okay? Everybody can see that?
Can you see it? You can come around and we'll make sure you see it, because you're the witness. See that? You've seen it though. You've seen it before.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, you recall it something.
Judges doing some research in the spot, you'll have a seat for just a minute.
All right, guys, just a second. Huh? We can clean it off there, buddy. Oh, my boy just got home. He's home over here to the hotel. He's been out over at the other hotel swimming with his teammates.
All right, be seated, folks. Anything to report back? Okay. All right. Where were we? I almost forgot where we were when we stopped. We're still in cross-examination of Mr. Corner. Yes, sir.
That's the reason why I didn't blow that one up. Not a very long video at all. You want some of that, son? There's Pop Tarts and cakes and it's just too, huh? Okay, we'll lock the car back, okay?
Your Honor, I just want to put on the record a general objection. I think Mr. Shell has a right, Sixth Amendment right to present a defense and to confront and cross-examine his witnesses. And I think every time that the officers answered no, they've objected to it.
Listen, let me tell you
I'm
something.
allowed to ask leading questions, and I'm allowed to get answers that make the Commonwealth look bad.
But now,
And when the
as
court
far as the last issue that came up, the intellectual disability issue, no ruling's been made on whether that could be brought up in the guilt innocent phase. We had a long discussion on that this morning about your expert who you seek to have to testify about these statements that he made to others.
I'm specifically talking about their general objection or continuous objection that when I ask leading questions, I'm testifying,
Let me suggest
which I'm not.
Let me suggest
So,
first of all, you have to have some basis for your questions, A, and B. Some of the stuff isn't in evidence that you're asking questions from. And C, there's another way to do this.
I just want to put that
let me
general.
finish,
Yes.
please. Please, I'm sorry. But in your case, the chief,
Judge is getting frustrated, isn't he?
Mr. Cornett, as a witness, as a hostile witness, as a phone calls. All right. Once certain things are established, you establish foundation for certain things. But insofar as the all this documentation about the phone stuff is concerned, that's not in evidence, but there's an agreement that you read from that in closing argument. And he's not an expert, sure. And with regard to the intellectual disability stuff, no ruling's been made on whether that is admissible yet in the days of this trial. All right, so please don't ask him. And like as I say, if ruling is made, but it is, you may call him.
I won't ask about that issue again. I just was worried that I didn't make a record. And so I just want to come up here and put that in words. I know I'm not trying to go back in time or re-argue the issue. I just want to put that.
But there again, he's here as the Commonwealth's man at the table, so you can call him on in your case in chief. Too. All right? Okay. Very good.
Okay. Say hello, Hunter. To everybody.
Hey guys.
I don't have us on the screen because I got my shirt off, but Hunter's got his shirt off too. We're just, acting like a bunch of males. We said hi, Hunter.
Corey.
Hopefully we'll get a little bit of a long. Oh, here's the car video in its entirety. You guys ready for this one? We're gonna watch the whole thing right here. I think it's pretty lengthy. Let's see. So pay attention.
All right, Simon, go ahead.
50 minutes. So we'll end with this one tonight.
Mr. Horn,
We'll watch this one and discuss.
Or in your investigation, you found out that Mr. Shell was employed at a place called NECO. Is that correct?
The information I had was CQIS. I don't know what NECO is.
CQIS. Okay. And that he did work the week between the 17th and the 25th, right?
I don't know. Lee Miller said that he was not at work on the 17th, 18th, the day before, or the day after, and the day of. So 17th, 18th, 19th.
My question was about the whole week. He worked 2 shifts that week, correct?
I don't know, sir.
Okay. And he passed a drug test to be employed there. Is that right?
I don't work there, so I don't know.
Okay. I was talking about this Everett's funeral home video before I had major computer problems. Just to refresh, we did go to the funeral home and get a copy of that surveillance video, right?
Yes, sir, we did.
Okay, so I'm going to show you what I've got.
Can I come around where I can see?
Certainly, if you need to come around,
Closer.
is this going to be a video
It is a
that he
video.
needs to see? Yeah, please come around so you can see it. You may have to come way around. I don't know if I can see it, to tell you the truth. That's fine, that's fine. Can the jury see it all right? All right.
We may need to move it a little closer. It's the whole TV, if we can.
Move it closer. I'll stay right here.
See that?
Okay.
So Everett's funeral home is over here. It's looking down. This is Kelly Street, right?
Yes, sir.
And this house right here is Mr. King's house. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna hit play and let it run for a little bit and make sure that we're looking at the same video you watched. Okay? It's blank. In this street here goes up, and there's a street in the back, and there's railroad tracks here, right?
All right, I just discovered I could look at it up here. It's sad to get old, I'm telling you. If you want to move that closer to the jury, you certainly can.
How's that? Everybody see it? So these are railroad tracks that go behind Mr. King's house, which is right there,
Yes, sir.
right? This is the parking lot of the funeral home.
Yes, sir.
right? And this is the camera angle that you viewed when you were investigating the murder of Ronnie, right?
I think the view it's the same camera, but I think I zoomed in on the house and they can slide the camera over one way, left to right, so I can be closer to the house.
Okay.
As you zoomed in while I was at the funeral home watching the video, it came a little bit more pixelated. It's not as clear as this. And that's kind of pixelated.
I was getting ready to say, I think we've blown it so big on this TV that it's already pixelated. When you viewed that at the funeral home, right?
Yes, sir.
And then we went to the funeral home and they made us a copy of this tape, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna play it. Well, two things I want to clarify. The time down here at the bottom, I think you testified to that the time on the funeral home video wasn't the correct time,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes.
So even the one you saw, the time you saw it, this time was never right. So we're not really gonna pay attention. This is not 8:31
Right, sir. That's correct.
but it is light outside, right? It's not a night vision camera.
It appears to be light outside.
So we know that this is sometime in the morning. We don't know the exact time. Is that right?
Sometime during daylight hours, yes, sir.
Perfect. Can you go to 9? A little bit back, maybe start at 8:58. It goes very fast. Don't you look up here? Play. Okay, you can stop it. Did you see that plume of smoke come out right there?
No, sir, I didn't.
All right, go back. It's right about 9:02. You see that?
I saw something on the upper end of the other residence. I couldn't tell if it's coming from the house or not, but there was something there. Yes.
Okay. Now can you go to 12? And back it up a little bit, maybe 11:50. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so you can see it's lighter. Still look right here, right in that area. That's Ronnie King's house. So it's kind of hard to see. But even though this isn't the right time, we still know there's a 3-hour gap between the time you can see that plume of smoke and the time that somebody went in, right?
I don't know. I didn't pay attention to the time.
Was
The
it
time
12?
changed to that.
So it was at 9, now it's at 12. Is that fair?
That's right. Like you did 9 is 12 now.
Okay. And I don't know if the jury knows much about Everett's. But this Kelly Street is a main road, right? It's not downtown Everett's. Okay. In the church, there's a church that's on this side of Kelly Street, right? It's kind of up here on the map.
I think the church up around Buddy's Creek.
Okay. Can you go to 940-ish? That's good, but you're gonna see is 3 people walk up and then down the tracks. That's what we're looking for. Keep letting it play. I want them to walk past the tracks. And you can pause it there. Did you see the people walk up the tracks and it disappeared about right there?
Yes, I did.
I was gonna introduce this video as evidence. I don't know if the court wants me to do it now through Detective Gordon or wait until our investigator is there. I think we got the video at the same time. I think this is the video that Detective Gordon had seen. I would move to introduce this as defense exhibit 1.
Does the Commonwealth have any issue with that right now, with introducing it now? Ordinarily, you do it on your case in chief, but,
No.
all right.
We
So-
have the video. No.
So the video, this is the funeral home video of February 18, 2013, which I'll just go ahead and indicate, it's introduced as defendant's exhibit 1. Okay?
And I'm not gonna play the whole thing.
All right.
But if you would go towards the end, just pick a time, keep going. Right there's good. And I only use this because we're not sure about the time, but I'm sure this is the scene, what it looked like on the morning of the 18th, right? With fire trucks, KSP, and audience members. There's a lot of people around, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is kind of the scene that you saw when you arrived,
Yes, sir.
right? So we know that this is from the morning of the 18th.
Yes, sir.
And I just want to let that play a little bit. There's people coming and going. I think you said you arrived around noon and you got the call at 10:54 a.m. Or maybe that's when the first charge came.
I think I arrived, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere before noon. I think the first trooper arrived at 10:54. Call came in at 10:48, something like that.
That's all the questions I have for this particular video. I'm going to move this back.
Okay.
Back, I'm not going to ask any more specific questions about that video. But that's the only surveillance video you were able to look at that had Ronnie King's house on it, right?
Yes, sir.
And you testified about that video to the grand jury. Is that right?
Yes, sir, I believe we did.
And when you told the grand jury what you saw in that video, you said that about 20 minutes, I'll get your exact words here, but basically that there was a lone figure you could see on the tracks about 20 minutes before the fire, and then 5 to 7 minutes after, you could see a lone figure leave the tracks. Is that right?
Yes, sir, that was on the zoomed in version. The 3 people going through the parking lot, the funeral home personnel said that the family lives by there. They go through the parking lot at that same time every day.
I'm sorry, the Dyson family?
No, I don't know the name of the family, I can't, but they identified, the funeral home personnel identified that as a family who walks through the funeral home parking lot about that same time every day.
Did you interview them at all?
No, I did not. From the video, only thing I could see was a dark figure. Couldn't see who it was, couldn't make out any physical features. I just made note that there was a dark figure that walking up the railroad tracks, ready to go into the yard, and short time later leave, and the smoke I observed shortly after that.
Okay. I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but you were the person that was in charge of collecting all the evidence at the scene, right?
Yes, sir.
And you collected a phone, black phone that was at Brownie King's residence,
Yes, sir, I did.
but you never sent that to an expert to be tested, did you?
No, sir.
You did not.
No, sir.
And you collected, well, I guess you didn't collect any of the blood that was found at Brownie King's residence, did you?
No, the only blood I saw was a pool of blood near the victim. There was no other blood splatter or spatter anywhere in the house. I saw where no one stepped in the blood, leaving bloody footprints to or from the body.
In your investigation, did you take any photographs?
Yes,
You did?
yes, sir, I did.
Okay. And the items that you actually did send off to be tested were the 4, or I guess 5 different canisters of ash. You sent that to be tested, right?
I did, yes, sir.
And the duct tape from Mr. King's body, you sent that to be tested, right?
Yes, sir, I did.
And then there was a rape kit done from Mr. King, is that correct?
We call it sexual assault kit.
I'm sorry,
Yes, sir.
sexual assault kit, yes. And that was sent off to be tested, correct?
Yes, sir.
And if my memory is right, that's all that was sent off to be tested, except for the pillow. I guess we did send off the pillow, right?
Yes, sir. If I'm not mistaken, I may have sent off a grade.
And you brought in a fingerprint team to fingerprint the safe, right?
The safe, the cash box, the strong box in the lock box in the bedroom, 2 empty gun boxes that had 2 pistols in them that were stolen.
And you didn't find any fingerprints at the scene?
No, sir, they did not.
Your expert team didn't find any fingerprints?
No, sir, they did not.
And in the sexual assault kit, there was no DNA from Mr. Shell, right?
According to the report I got, that's correct.
But there was found to be some spermicidal lube as part of that sexual assault kit, right?
I think that's what they referred to it as, yes, sir.
I've already asked you, and you've already said that you did no investigation on Ernie Shell. So I'm gonna ask, you didn't know that Ernie Shell had sex with men?
No, sir.
And the stuff you collected from the arrest of Mr. Shell, you didn't send any of that, any items of those items to an expert to be tested for things like DNA or fingerprints, did you?
If you give me just a second, I was thinking that the gray sweatshirt was sent to the lab. If you give me just a second, I'll try and find that report.
Okay.
While he's looking, are y'all cold?
Yeah, we turn the heat up.
I see one person shaking their head. Hands get cold.
Yes, gray sweatshirt with stain on sleeve. Also sent a blood standard for Ronnie King. Requested a determine if stain is human blood or if blood is on the article of clothing. If blood present, check DNA for possible identification. That was requested.
You don't have any DNA matching Mr. Shell at all. You don't have any results that match Mr. Shell.
No, I thought the previous question was there any other things that I sent to the lab? I sent the projectile from the victim's burnt shirt, greenish substance from the chest of the victim.
So,
And other than that, but no, I have nothing with DNA from Chip.
so as a part of your investigation, did you know that Ernie Shell has a video series called The Killer Inside?
No, sir.
So you haven't watched any of those videos?
No, sir.
You never obtained his fingerprints for comparison? Ernie Shell's?
Comparison to what, sir?
You never obtained them at all, did you?
No, sir. There was no latent prints recovered. So there was no
And
need
at the
for.
time, on the 25th, when you met Ernie Shell, you didn't yet have results of the duct tape analysis, did you?
No, sir.
So you did not know there weren't fingerprints.
No, sir, I did not.
And you didn't get his DNA either as a sample, did you?
At that time, no, sir, and I haven't since. No, sir.
So there's never been any comparison done between DNA found at the scene or on any of those items with Ernie Shell.
No, sir.
And you never searched his phone?
No, sir.
I think I've covered all the questions I want to ask for now. Thank you.
All right, any,
Oh.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just found in my notes. I didn't get a chance to ask you a couple days ago when we were talking about your police report and your investigation into Kevin Dixon and Jerry Mulkey's phone call. It says in this report, I mean, do you remember that report? Do you have a copy of the report?
That's the report you showed me the other day.
Yeah, I forgot to ask, because it's just one sentence in this report. But it says, Jerry stated he never called her back, so she called him around 11 p.m., but no one answered. Do you remember that being in the report?
Give me just a second, sir. I'll try and find that.
What time was the calls, Ken, that you just read?
I'm sorry?
What time are the calls that you just read?
Around 11 p.m.
All right, thank you. That's what I thought you
I'll find Detective Johnson's statement. He's the one that took that. If you give me just a second, I hate to go through all this paper, but I've got it in all disarray.
Yeah, me too. It's okay.
Okay, I have it here, I believe. You can show me on your, so
Yeah,
I
I
can find it on mine.
Unless I put it away, right? It is fourth line down. Jerry stated he never called her back, so she called him around 11, but no one answered.
Yes, I see it.
That's in your report?
Yeah, she told Detective Brian Johnson that she called him and he never called her back. So she called him around 11 p.m., but no one answered.
That's all.
Okay, any redirect?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What was the date on that where she said he never called her back? No one answered.
That was, she was referring to the 17th.
Sunday night, 17th.
Yes. She was interviewed on the 18th.
To, Mr. Solomon's asked you about a lot of stuff you didn't do.
or that you didn't have he's asked you what you didn't have at the time you interviewed Shelby Shell. And I want to make sure that we're together on the interviews. We played a WYNT interview that you viewed sometime later. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
The interview that Mr. Solomon's referring to is what? For you, that when you interviewed Shelby Shell, what interview is he referring to?
That would be on the 25th, after I got back to Harlan County from Berea. That would have been in the evening hours of the 25th.
And so he's asking you what you didn't have. You didn't have IP address. You didn't have DNA evidence. You didn't have fingerprint evidence, etc. That he asked you about. But you did have the phone call that Shelby Shell made to James Collins.
Yes, sir. I got that on the morning of the 25th.
And in that phone call, what did you hear?
How the incident occurred at the Ronnie King residence, that he murdered Ronnie King.
You did have that with you at that time.
Yes, sir.
You asked for a request for fingerprints and for a team to come in, experts with Kentucky State Police, to come to the scene and to try to find the same fingerprints. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, I did.
Were they able? You might want to explain. You use the terminology "no latent fingerprints." What does that mean?
That's you see on TV. They get dust. The expert can use other chemicals to raise fingerprints, and when you see the print actually under the dust or whatever chemical they're using, when you observe it, that is a latent print. That's what they will retrieve by placing tape over the top of it, pull it up, putting on a white card so that the print is now visible. That would be the latent print. And they take it back, and if they find one or some, they examine them under a microscope and compare them with fingerprints on file or fingerprints that I've submitted or the officer has submitted.
I mean, they hired
So we're
somebody
clear.
to
In your
sweep for
search,
fingerprints, a whole team?
in your search,
Surely not.
were there any fingerprints found that in your investigation that you could use?
No, sir.
Was there any
No
need for you
fingerprints
to
found.
have fingerprint comparison with nothing?
No, sir.
You were asked about the library facts. I wasn't shown that, but I'd asked Mr. Solomon to let me see it again. He showed it to you, and I'd like to put it on the screen so the jury can see it. The library facts.
Oh. Okay.
On the approach.
Mhm.
This again. I'll ask the
Pretty weird
witness
that they didn't
if
find any
Mr.
fingerprint.
Solomon, was asking you about if you went to the library or talked to the library about.
Almost like somebody might have went back up there and cleaned them off, huh? They got rid of the blinds like they said they did, huh? I mean, there was a story explaining it.
Your Honor, if I may I continue to ask him about
Sure.
it, and if it pops up on the screen, if not, we can publish it to the jury in the old-fashioned way, hand it around, and they can look at And I would ask to do that if we don't. You've seen this before today, haven't you, Detective?
Yes, sir.
What were you, was that beneficial and helpful in any way in your investigation?
The time on the top of the fax here says February the 17th, 2013, at 05:59. That is the possible date of the murder up until the early hours of the 18th. Assuming that 5:59 is PM. My thinking was it would have been hard for him to get from Berea to Everett, Kentucky, and if he left at that exact time, to the approximate time frame when we believe that Mr. Shell was at the door, heard the conversation between his sister, or Ronnie King's sister, Jerry Mulkey, and Mr. King. The approximate time on that phone call was around 8 o'clock. So I was trying to confirm if this was true, then there's no way that he could have been there. Even though the date that he has on here is February the 19th, 2013.
Which, and in relation to the, he's got the date of 2019, February 19th. What's the relationship to that, to the time of the discovery of the body?
This would have been after,
The body was discovered on what day?
on the 18th.
And so it's dated by Mr. Shell as the 19th.
Yes, sir.
What relevance does that even have to?
What
Yes.
relevance does that have, huh?
Other than confirm that he's correct, put the correct date, or if there's a discrepancy in the actual date from the stamp on the top of the fax, which there is. I had them fax me a copy from the Madison County Public Library, post 10, and the date and the time was off. So
You mean Shelby's lying
need to
again?
make sure whether Mr. Shell was here at this time, or if it coincided with what all the other evidence was showing.
What's this world
So
coming
it
to
shows
when
that-
you can't trust a murderer?
Date and time stamp, he was not there at this time, which is what he said, or he put on the time, or the date, is what he put. So I just trying to make sure I had all my ducks in a row.
So did that prove Shelby Shell was there or was not there, or?
He was not at the public library on 2/17/2013 at 5:59 because their time was wrong on the fax machine.
Okay.
He was lying.
And I'll ask you about you did follow up on with his employer, that he wasn't at work. He might have worked that week, but he was not at work the day of Sunday, the 17th, the 18th, or the 19th. Is that what I understood you to say?
That's what Mr. Miller told me. He was not at work.
Now, when you don't have when you didn't have the report back, and you knew you had no fingerprints, and you're interviewing Shelby Shell, you didn't have fingerprints, you didn't have the autopsy report back from the post-mortem examination. You didn't have much, but you had Shelby Shell's recorded telephone conversation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, that maybe didn't sound like the question. What I wanted to ask you is this question. If you said in that interview, what about if we find fingerprints on him or something like that? Is that something that police do when they interview people for the very first time?
Yes, sir.
Ploys, it's legal ploys to ask questions that are hypotheticals.
Yes, sir. But if information I had is he went back to the residence because he was afraid that he left fingerprints at the scene was the reason for the fire.
You had been told that.
Yes, sir.
That he went back because of that. In fact, what had what had you taken the recorded statement, which is all part of this record that we've all had for years. What had you been told that he did to the body?
That he had went back to the, you mean on the initial
Of
encounter?
Shelby Shell. What, and Shelby Shell went back to the scene, and James Collins gave you the statement at your interview that he said he went back to the scene to do what?
To burn the residence because he thought he left some fingerprints on a blind. If I'm not mistaken, I think Mr. Collins also said that he poured gasoline on it.
On the body.
Yes, sir.
That's in his statement.
I think it is, yes, sir.
But you didn't have any report back from any of the labs about whether there was gasoline on the shirt or gasoline anywhere. You were just going by, you're just asking questions. What if? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, this funeral home video, we all went to the funeral home. We've all looked at it. Mr. Bianchi, who owns part of the funeral home, he actually was coroner and testified earlier. You've seen that video before.
Yes, sir.
Does it cover the time that you're there? We brought photos from Mr. Bianchi of the scene, and he identified for the jury that where the funeral home was located. Were you at the scene?
Yes, sir, I was.
Can you identify yourself on this video?
No, sir, I couldn't tell you which car was mine or if it was me going up and down the steps of the residence.
You hear that?
This is a street that people go back and forth, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is.
There's a school behind the residence, isn't there?
Yes, across
Mr. Hornet couldn't even tell you which
the
car it
railroad
is.
tracks behind the
He's a
residence
detective.
is the elementary school, North Everett Elementary School.
And that, do people use that railroad track to walk on? Are there any sidewalks in that area?
Don't think there's any sidewalks, not in that direct area, but as anywhere in southeast Kentucky, there you can, if you go down today, you'll see where people drive ATVs down the railroad tracks. They walk because it's shorter to walk up the tracks, then they go around the street and back up.
There's lots of residences in that area.
Yes, sir.
Did you think there was any probable, any real evidential value in that video
No,
that
sir.
led you to what you said, the search for the truth?
No, sir. Other than smoke coming from the residence where I could see the fire department showing up shortly after, and a dark figure walking up the railroad tracks, crossing over the, well, it appears to me going into the yard, and a short time later leaving, and then the smoke's visible, but I couldn't tell who it was. No facial recognition or anything like that.
Were you confident that it showed the day and the time correctly from the video?
Oh, no. The time I watched it, I looked at my watch, and it was off. The time was off, the date was off, everything was off.
Did you talk to the people at the funeral home that knew how to operate the camera and operate the machine and everything? Were they able to help you even identify yourself or see anything on there that would be of any value, that was worth anything to bring the video and show the jury, anything that was worth pointing out to the jury that would show them the truth?
Yeah, we tried to zoom in on the residence, but you couldn't make out anything of evidentiary value.
Do we have that? I'm going to ask for Commonwealth 14. This piece of,
Remove the introducer.
yeah.
Any objection?
Yep.
All right, that's a fax, is that correct? Introduce as Commonwealth Exhibit 14, without objection.
You got a lot of papers, a lot of reports, a lot of things you did in this case.
Yes, sir.
Did you have probable cause to take the cell phone from Ernie Shell? Ernie Shell? Did you ever have probable cause to take his cell phone and have
No.
it tested?
No, sir.
That's a standard in law, isn't it? Before you can take somebody's.
Objection, Your Honor may leave.
We don't have to get into that, that's all right.
Did you take any videos? I mean, or any other evidence?
No, sir, I think other than the evidence that was taken from Kevin Dixon, it's all there.
Thank you.
Okay, any redirect or any recross?
You never sent that evidence from Kevin Dixon to be tested, did you?
No, sir.
You did not.
No, sir.
Okay. We heard testimony from, I don't know if it was detective or arson investigator Gabbard, in which he testified that there were no accelerants used, right?
I think that's what he testified to, yes, sir.
And he said that he made those conclusions on the day of the fire, right?
Yes, sir.
You sent off the ash to a scientist, right?
Yes, sir, that he collected, put in the cans, turned it over to me, I sent it to the lab.
And the evidence found something different. And the science found something different, right?
Yes, sir, I think that's what the lady testified, or the gentleman testified to.
That there was in fact two different types of accelerants used. I mean, he didn't use accelerants, so I should say. What was the science term?
Ignitable fluids.
Yes, ignitable fluids.
Yes, sir, that's what he testified to.
Two different ignitable fluids. And you found that out after Mr. Gabbard talked to you, made his findings, right?
Yes, sir.
And so that funeral home video, well, I guess that's all I want to ask, I think. I don't need to ask about a funeral home video anymore. The jury has it, they can see it. Any other questions? That's all.
To be clear, Detective Cornish, when the Kentucky State Police arson investigator that testified early on, he testified that, as you recall, saw no accelerants. But who collected the ash?
The arson investigator, Mr. Gabbard,
The same man.
same man, yes.
He collected the ash. And what did he do with the ash that he collected? What did he want done with that?
He,
For what purpose did he give the ash to you?
for examination.
What
Laboratory
kind of
examination.
examination?
Forensic laboratory examination of.
In a laboratory,
In a laboratory, yes, sir.
by a specialist, by a scientist. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
By an expert who can come to court and testify definitively. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And if I recall, what percent of accuracy did that expert tell you in your investigation, and then tell this court, what percent of accuracy did she say concerning she refused to use the word accelerant. She used the word flammable liquids. What percent of accuracy did she say she was scientifically?
Okay, I think the person that testified to the ignitable or the arson investigator was a bearded gentleman. This one don't confuse the jury. And he was certain, I can't remember if he said 100% certain, but he was certain under his training with the scientific evidence that he had and the gas chromatograph, whatever above my pay grade. It all showed two different types of ignitable fluids.
And yesterday afternoon, I don't even know if you recall, were you present? Do you recall the lady who testified regarding I'm sorry, I'm confused. I take that back. I'm sorry. The man with the beard, he said he was the expert on that issue. And he's the one who examined them in the
in the lab. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
But he did use, whether what he looked like or whether he's a man or woman, he did have a percentage certainty that he was certain that there had been ignitable liquids.
Yes, sir.
Do you recall that?
I don't remember the exact percentage, but if he's going to testify to being certain, it'll be 100% certain.
I think that's correct. Thank you.
Excuse me? Are we through with this
I don't
witness?
have any other questions.
No further questions? Any,
Back to start there.
all right, any more of this witness?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you may sit down, subject to recall. Let's take a lunch break and be back here at 1:05. Okay, same admonition, ladies and gentlemen. Please don't reach any conclusions or opinions. Don't speak among yourselves about this or anyone else. And if you don't want to approach us about it, please report back to me, and we'll see you at about 1:05.
All right, guys. We will wrap up there as far as the trial goes for tonight. We're going to discuss a little bit. So I'll open the floor up for discussion, questions, comments, anything you guys want to say or ask. Right now would be a good time to do so. And I did send Josh a message and asked about his grandma, so we'll see if he's I know if he's live, he may not even get the message, but we'll see. Nothing yet, so. Oh, Lab said he saw his. Lab said, how's grandmother doing? Oh, no, I missed it. So, yeah, looks like we've run into a buzzsaw of a weekend on the YouTube streets with the great American divorce. And Ernie's hat giveaway. There's some issues surrounding Candace. Supposedly, we've seen, not supposedly, that we've seen. Starting with Pizzagate, among other things. So, how are you doing, Steve? Steve, I still haven't made it to the post office yet, buddy. And I've got to go Monday. For some reason, my box, I've had some stuff returned as undeliverable. So I don't know, there's some kind of issue. I'm sure it's probably some people putting their nose where they don't belong, honestly. That's me thinking the worst, and I shouldn't do that, I guess. Okay, cool. I will. I got to go to the post office actually Monday anyway, and put some stuff in the mail and check on some things. I mean, I don't know if you guys can tell a demeanor change in me. I don't know. I just feel like so relaxed. I mean, just so relaxed. No worries as far as YouTube and hater type stuff. It's just not bothering me. I chalk that up as a win. I really feel that way. I mean, it just feels good to You know, I am tired, Gwen. I am tired. I slept. My daughter drove, and I slept for a couple hours. But I think sleeping in the car actually wears you out more than actually, you know, staying up sometimes. But but yeah, there's no drama at all. As far as just the physical, being physically tired. Like there's no, um, stress. It's gone. It's gone. And oh yeah, I feel great, Stingray. I feel great. Like I said, I'm kind of being quiet. Um, my daughter's asleep. I think Hunter might be asleep. Hunter, you asleep? Yeah, Hunter's asleep. That's one way to find out. Hey, Hunter, you asleep? But so I'm kind of keeping it down a little bit for them too. But yeah, I mean, I feel great. I feel great. Just yeah, I'm having a relaxing weekend. Gonna do our thing tomorrow on the basketball court, and then win, lose or draw, we're gonna hop in the car and be back in time for um, Saturday evening with the family. I think my oldest son wants to try to rent the new Batman as a family on whatever streaming we could find it on. If you guys got any suggestions, um, and then we will Sunday spend Easter Sunday together and celebrate Jesus raising from the dead. So that's when we were driving in today into Alabama. Um, on this 4-lane highway, there was some people, with like acting out. They were, had crosses, and they weren't hanging from the cross, but they were standing up there, and it gave that appearance, and it was just pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. Um, so the Easter story, and of course Christmas. The story, of the actual biblical story of Christmas and Easter, um, and the meaning behind it all. That's that's just terrific. The new Batman was pretty good. My son saw it and he loved it. He said something about it was the darkest Batman yet. I'm thinking all the Batman movies are pretty dark. So yeah, nerds. THC rope help me really relax, Stingray. There you go. Um, for up to me, we binge watch, some Star Wars. I do like it. Doesn't matter what we watch together though, as long as the family's together and we all enjoy it. And like I said, whatever they want to watch, I'll enjoy just because they enjoy it. So um, I don't recall any movies that they picked out that I, thought back and like, don't like that. Um, Stingray's feeling so chill tonight. It's very nice for a change, isn't it? Though, I mean, like I'm glad I don't live that stressful, you know, hurtful, doxing, just painful life, man. Like who wants to do that all the time? Hurts, it hurts. Um, Kissing bunnies, suckling and kissing my bunnies. Uh-huh. So, trial questions, guys. What do you guys think about what we've seen tonight? There was a couple things that stood out to me. Once again, watching it over, it is quiet over YouTube, Steve. It is over the part that we, covered for the most part anyway. But, you know, what about some of the things that, what about specifically, let's talk about the fingerprints or lack thereof. You know, it was said that Detective Cornett, dropped the ball, and they did. I'm not saying that, all parties involved completely dropped the ball everywhere at every turn, but there was a lot of fumbling going on. A lot of fumbling going on all sides. Um, you know, um, as far as the professionals are considered, um, are concerned, not considered. But what the misunderstanding was, the thought process was that Detective Cornett didn't get any fingerprints, or didn't try. But we now know that Detective Cornett hired a crew just for that, a professional crew to come in, and that was their sole purpose of being there, was to get fingerprint evidence. Why were there no fingerprints on the duct tape? That makes no sense. Thumper, I agree. And wasn't that a question that was asked too? I saw that he was pushing reasonable doubt. Um, and did any of you think it odd that um, the Commonwealth attorney several times kind of made points for the defense? Like, dude, are you trying to win this case? Are you trying to put Shelby Shell in prison? Are you trying to convict a murderer, or are you trying to help them get a not guilty verdict? I mean, am I misconstruing something? Did any of you see that? I got that feeling several times in this case. I mean, it was just, stuck out to me tonight, and over the last couple of nights that we've actually covered the trial. Like, I was like taken aback by what I heard from the Commonwealth attorney. Like, and maybe it's, and I don't know, because I'm not an attorney, and I'm definitely not a prosecuting attorney, not any kind of attorney, but maybe it's part of their job description in trial. I don't know. Am I missing something? And maybe you guys can point out to me that, are they obligated to do this? Peace and love is an awesome combo. I'm going to pin that comment, Stingray. I agree with you. I'm going to put that up in YouTube too. I'm going to put that up. Let's pin that. I agree. So let's look at our schedule coming up over the next few days. Let's go to StreamYard and see. I think we've got, let's see. Hopefully I don't pop into StreamYard and it. Let's see. We've got Easter Sunday, April 17th, scheduled at 9 p.m., family night. And we may do that as a members only. You know, see what happens. We may open it back up, but and then turn around, come back on Monday for back to the trial of the confessed convicted murderer Shelby Shell, 9 p.m. on Monday evening, and we're going to go strong with the trial, get in deep into the defense, because the prosecution is wrapping up. They've been saying it for the last few witnesses and during their testimony. So so we have that. All right. EKCC in Morgan County, Kentucky. 11 Grace. All right. Yes, he is in Eastern Kentucky Correctional in West Liberty, Morgan County. Over in the Paintsville, Pikeville area. You guys writing him a letter? Oh, that would just not today. Can't take many more defeats. It's not good for her. Thank you, Leslie B. Thank you so much. I'm just happy that you have brought all this forward, Jimbo, and let people observe it and make a choice of their own, regardless of the outcome they may want from it. And that's what you can do. You can listen to it yourself and decide what you think. I mean, it's not going to change anything. At the end of the day, and this is what I don't think. You don't live far from there, Mama's baby girl. At the end of the day, and I don't think that Not Today and several others realize this. Matt Kemper didn't realize this. There's not going to be another trial. You guys have seen Shelby's guilty plea. He waived his rights. And he was asked point blank if he understood that by entering into this plea bargain that he waived those rights to a fair trial, to a or quick and or speedy trial, and waived those rights to a appeal. He waived those rights so he could go ahead and plead guilty and start his 20-year, cupcake sentence. His phone call, I heard he talked about you and Ernie. Yeah, he's talked about me and Ernie and other people, and just, what you're seeing is a convicted killer who's getting the attention from people who didn't know who he was a month ago or 2 months ago. They had no idea who Shelby Shell was. Now he feels relevant. Oh, you live closer to San Diego. But yeah, I mean, now he feels like he's a star. He's the star of the show. Does it remind you of anybody? Now he thinks, it's the Shelby Shell Show live on YouTube. You're not the only one who thinks that, Thumper. It's falling for him, and she's trying her best to get him out or get him another trial. But getting him another trial is not as simple as Well, I don't think you did it. Let's just go get another trial. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. You know, there has to be new evidence, like evidence, not a new story from Shelby Shell, right? Not uh, a new accusation. Um, there's got to be legitimate evidence, like DNA evidence. Now if there's evidence that shows up that belongs to somebody else, and that somebody else is shown to have been there and had a motive for committing a heinous act, and that evidence also ties them to the jewelry that Shelby had, or the gun or guns that Shelby had, then that would be the kind of evidence that would elicit possibilities of a new trial. Like, it's not easy with slam dunk DNA evidence to get a new trial in a guilty plea conviction, where a man stands in front of the judge and admits to murder. He didn't admit to complicity. That was what he pled guilty to. But the judge never once said, Shelby Shell, are you telling me that you are complicit in a murder? No, that's not what he said. He said, Shelby, did you commit a crime in which resulted in the death of Ronnie King? And Shelby said, yes, sir, Your Honor. Guilty. You're right, Steve. Pretty cut and dry. Pretty cut and dry. Like, this fantasy that there's going to be a new trial is just that. It's a fantasy. Nobody says he's living it up in there. He has this idea that someone is getting him out. He walked around bragging about doing it until recently, and now he isn't. Nobody, you seem to have this knowledge that's been going around. Like, it's been said that Shelby's been bragging about this for years. Now he's going to shut his mouth. Let's see what Mama's baby girl's got to say here. Thumper, so her help sister said that he should get a new trial as well. Oh, you mean her half sister? Are you talking to Tex, Mama's baby girl? Yes, her half sister. That's not her half sister, by the way. It's just not. I've got text messages from both of them, and where they, let's be real nice about it, where they just slam each other to no end on how one's a prostitute and how one is a drug addict and how one has stolen velour. I mean, if they're half sisters, man, they got some sibling rivalry going on. And this was way back. Way back. Now all of a sudden they're half sisters. Come on now. Come on. Come on. Yeah. Yeah, I knew what you meant after I started reading it, Mama's Baby Girl. Yeah, that's nobody. I just have firsthand knowledge. Yeah, I mean, there's been some people that do have that firsthand knowledge, you know, with him going around talking jail talk with other inmates. Ava, yep, other inmates. He has been jailhouse confessing for several years. I don't know if that's what nobody's talking about, but he has. Absolutely, without doubt. But yeah, I mean, so now these are the kind of things that you know, we can't give you receipts on because we can't speak for these jailhouse inmates, right? We can't make them come forward with their story. So not, you know, so this is definitely hearsay on my end anyway. My end is 100% hearsay. I will say that. I can't speak for anybody else, but I'm going to be up front, you know. And that's what I've heard for years, and it is hearsay. But you know, the more and more it happens, the less and less likely it is that all these people are making up the same story, right? Right. He has bragged about it even in Harlan County Detention Center, Leslie B. You are correct. You are correct. That is the word coming from the Harlan County Detention Center, from guards, from inmates, jailers. Yes, more than one person, and for the most part, the story's always the same. And you know what it matches? His recorded confession. Maybe he's still going along with that prank from behind bars. Reckon? Reckon? Yeah. But like I said, you know, we entertain this thought of you know, just for entertainment purposes, because the King family knows this thing's not going back to trial, right? I mean, I would absolutely love for Miss Not Today to take her photos that she says she has of another man laying next to Ronnie's body and show those to his family. I'd love to see how that turned out for you. Now, I will tell you this, and I don't care what jurisdiction, what law enforcement, or whatever the case may be. If there is a photograph or upwards of 300 photographs of a murdered person, laying next to the person or persons, people who committed this murder, those people would be in jail. They would not be out with the possibility of them harming somebody else again, right? Put a one in the chat if you agree with that. Like, absolutely, they're going to be in jail, right? Like, what kind of sense does that make? It would be withholding evidence, Steve. It's withholding evidence. It's obstructing justice. It's complicity. It's accessory after the fact. And no gag order is going to make a difference. No gag order is going to make a difference. Like, what's going to happen is you got these photos. The very first law enforcement officer you show them to is going to arrest you, arrest your accomplice, and anybody else who has any knowledge of these photos. Point blank, without hesitation, and we're going to get indictments right off the bat. I mean, it wouldn't even be hard to get an indictment, right? What kind of evidence is better than photo evidence? It don't get much better than that. Right, Steve? It means you were there. Not today, post a picture of her in an army suit on her wall. She did that today? Is it an army suit? Told me she was in the Marines. Yesterday I heard it was the Air Force. But you may be generalizing that to mean military. And if so, I'm not trying to doubt you at all. Marine, okay. Yeah, she told me she was in the Marines. But even with that, she says she was in the Marines for 7 years. Okay. Her husband said she was not in the Marines when they were married. And they were married up until 14 years ago. She's 44. So at 30 years of age, she joined the Marines and was in the Marines for 7 years, according to her. Okay. You got to be at the oldest you can be when you join the Marine Corps is 28. So something don't add up. Something don't add up. But yeah, I heard she posted on her community page of the DD 214 also, with a big fat emoji in the middle of it that blocks out everything. I mean, if there was that much scrutiny coming down on me, and there's a lot of it coming down on her, I'm just going to be honest with you. Bunny Hill has been ruthless, calling her every name in the book. And I would post the damn DD 214. Yeah, Steve, it doesn't add up. But now she did say she got a medical discharge. So that, there's, playing devil's advocate, that is possible that she got medically discharged at 7 years. Possible. But there's just so many things that don't add up. And hey, Carrie, um, so many things that don't add up. And, you know, why take all the punishment when you can clear it right up? Because the longer you wait, the more time it gets for you to be able to Photoshop or do other things, right? Like the longer you wait, the more time it just it opens the door for even if it's all true, it opens the door for um, people to disagree. And is that the goal? Do we want disagreement? Do we want? Um, is that part of what we want to do? Is we want to get it all, and then say, "I told you so. I told you I wasn't lying, and you didn't believe me, and now you look like the evil person you are." Which, I told you from the beginning, regardless whether she's lying or not, she's still a female, and Kemper's not. Jamie's not, although he acts like it. Um, why do you feel it necessary to speak to a woman in such a disgusting, vile manner? Mm. I guess it's old humpback in Notre Dame, and I guess since I wasn't giving you enough attention, you had to pick on somebody else, right? It's bad. It's bad. Um, guys, give me about a minute here. I'll be right back. I'm not going nowhere. Just got to take care of something, and I'll be right straight back. Promise. You guys enjoyed the crap out of that music, didn't you? Oh no! Oh no! What are you guys talking about? Just like Ernie asked. Let me go back and read. My goodness, a storm outside. You guys hear that thunder? That was crazy. me go back and read some of this stuff. I would hope, Steve, that nobody would fake a military service too, but it's been done so much, man. And on these YouTube streets, people try to say there's something or not too much. So would I, Gwen. I would be so tickled just to show my military papers. You know, like that would be something I would, loud and proud all the time, right? Elevator music. Yeah. Oh, had to get me a drink. DOJ cards don't expire. I don't know. I don't think they do they? You guys been over there in Ziggy's Ziggy giving stuff away again tonight? Or selling stuff? Makeup sales or giveaways? I have a question. If anyone knows, I saw Ernie was mentioned. How old is his son? Is he a young or an adult? He is 16. He may be 17 now. He's either 16 or 17. He's definitely not an adult yet. Sailing makeup. I see. You can't find the makeup sale, Arkansas? We just had a crazy thunder going out here. Let me see what kind of weather's supposed to be like. Oh no. 100% chance. Wonderful. Well, for all those boys and fathers who want to go fishing tomorrow, we'll put a damper on their day after we get done pooping it. I'm not a fisherman at all. God, I hope Mini Ernie doesn't end up like his cons. A stingray. I would not think that they're just, they look identical, especially if you look at their, pictures when Ernie was younger. But I think looks is about it. And I don't pretend to know more than what I know, but according to his mother, he's a band kid. As far as I know, Ernie wasn't never in the band or do those kind of things. I've never seen him with a musical instrument ever. Um, you know, but yeah, fishing. I don't think there's going to be too much fishing going on. This thunderstorm is clogging down out there, boy. Oh, I'm dying. Steve, do you fish? I think I might be like the only American male who doesn't fish. I don't fish. No, I don't fish. Um, I've never enjoyed fishing. Like I just, I don't have the patience for it. I don't like fish, so I wouldn't eat it. So there's that. Maybe if I like to fish, then I might like to fish. Um, when I was, you know, teenager and young adult, I played ball all the time, daylight to dark, every day. When I wasn't with my woman, I was shooting basketball. Boring, very boring person. Of course, I love my life. So, to me, it's not boring. Problem is, let's see, Ava, I get it. The problem, let me highlight some stuff here instead of just reading it. You guys aren't seeing all that, and I'm don't wanna lose you here. So, Ava, I get it. The problem is with this is she lies a lot. So she always says she wants proof from everyone, but she won't show her proof. Oh, we talking about not today? Yeah, yeah. Show me those receipts. That's what she's always saying, right? We come with receipts here. Here, me and Mr. the Keeper, we're all about receipts here. That's what we do. We're going to bring you facts, honesty, truth, receipts, except for if you need them from me. Then it's private. Yep. Yeah, buddy. What? A Harlan County feller that don't fish, oh lordy. Leslie, my brother fished enough for both of us. Oh, he fished enough for the both of us. I grew up on the riverbank in Loyal, so I could have fished every single day if I wanted to. My brother did pretty much. Uh, Me, I'd rather go shoot hoops, rather go play ball. Uh, Stingray, ham, scallop potatoes, green beans, homemade rolls, pecan pie. Ooh, boy, where are we eating that at tomorrow? Is that within driving distance of Alabama? I could use me some scallop potatoes, homemade rolls. I could just eat that. Scallop potatoes and homemade rolls. Of course, we don't call them potatoes where I'm from. Arizona, probably not close enough. Probably not close enough. I knew you were in Arizona. What was I thinking? What was I thinking? My best friend invited me for homemade lasagna, and God knows what else she is cooking up. Buddy, I love lasagna. My wife makes such a good homemade lasagna. Like, it is so good. My daughter makes pretty good homemade lasagna too. Taters, there we go. My daughter she doesn't put meat in her lasagna. Like, it's not like that she's like just doesn't like meat or anything. She just don't want. It's not like a vegetarian on purpose. For the purpose of not eating meat. She just don't like meat in her lasagna, and it's pretty good the way she makes it. Um, so I always get me a piece of hers and a piece of my wife's. So I have taters just about every day. That's not good for old diabetic. Cowboys and Indians, Rio Vista. Yeah, man. The man. To walk over to Rio Vista and play football. Fox and Hounds. Any of you guys ever play Fox and Hounds growing up? Absolutely, I'll give you my pizza roll recipe. Absolutely, I will. I'll roll that thing out for you Sunday night. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. I've got a my cousin's son would play would he loved those pizza rolls, loves them, and he was in there when I was making them. I think it might have been like around Easter. We were having some kind of family get together, and a couple years ago, and he said he saw me putting ranch on the dough. And he was like, "Oh no, don't put ranch on it." I'm like, "That's one of the main ingredients. It's always on there." He's like, "No, I'm allergic to ranch." I'm like, "You like my pizza rolls, right?" "I love them, but you don't put ranch on them." I said, "I've always put ranch on them." So yeah, so he's not really allergic to ranch. Somebody told him that, and he believed it. No, it's not like Stromboli. Not like Stromboli at all. Take a pizza crust, like which the easiest way to do it until you perfect your own is just get like the what is that popular um, pizza crust? Comes in the little cans, looks like canned biscuits, but it's not like canned biscuits. It's got like a square pizza crust in it that it rolls out. Um, I can't remember the brand, but until you make your own, until you start making your own crust, you lay out the pizza crust and roll it out good and square, um, and then cut it in the middle, and then cut each half in half, and then cut each quarter in half, um, and then you put pepper jack cheese, mozzarella cheese, ranch, um, pepperoni, um, Italian spice, um, just a dab of garlic, and then roll them up. Roll them up. Pillsbury's good. Yeah, Pillsbury's one of the ones that you can use. It's maybe Pillsbury that's the easiest actually. The Walmart brand is not good. The generic, whatever generic grocery store brand is not good because it's real hard to keep the dough together. But it's best to actually make your own dough, and then that way you have it. It's all good and solid. But yeah, you roll them up and then um, turn them, turn them sideways and stand them up, and you put a pepperoni under each one, and then you cook them on 375 or 380 for about 10 minutes or until they're brown. Take them out. Yeah, I can do. I can do that. I can do a cooking demonstration on those one day. I may make a video, and then that way we can condense it down. It'll be pretty fun. Egg roll dough. The yes, the that's the way I make Italian nachos is with those wontons. Take the wontons and deep fry them. You cut them into like little triangles and deep fry them. And then you put um, mozzarella cheese and pepperoncini peppers and pepperoni. Oh man, those are good. Yeah. Now you guys got me starving to death. It's it's 1:36 here. What is it? I guess it's 2:36 Eastern time now, right? We're on, yeah, 2:36 Eastern time. Yeah, you can stuff them with cream cheese. Is awesome. Cream cheese. Of course, you can put cream cheese in just about anything, make them good. Fried wontons. Yep. Yeah. They got those wonton teriyaki chicken wonton at wonton tacos, chicken tacos or whatever at Applebee's. Those are good. I was kind of prolonging, and I was trying to see if they still don't have our game time for in the morning. It's gonna be hard to set an alarm and be ready to go when we don't know what time we play tomorrow. That's a tough one. Text the tournament director at 3 o'clock in the morning. He might get mad. Deep fried Indian bread. Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, making me hungry too, Arkansas. Making me hungry too. Answering parents. But on the mend. Hey, lab. Oh, grandma's doing good. 2 procedures. She's tired. I bet, man. Bet she's tired. Did they just like give her general anesthetic, or did they actually like put her under? I'll tell you that daggum just being put under for surgeries can be, absolutely tiring. It could just wear you straight out. We're going to have recipe night one night, I guess. Do recipe night at the stand. We had to do it before, like before the trial. We have to come on an hour and have recipes for an hour. We've been sharing recipes over here tonight, Josh. Put under twice in 24 hours. Oh man, I bet she is wore out, buddy. Does she stay with you, or does she have plenty of help? Man, that's tough. I mean, that's tough for a young person. Stingray, we will have the recipe and make them now home. I will place the recipe on with Jimbo. Yeah, we'll have to do recipe night one night. That'd be pretty cool. Be pretty cool. Me and my 2 boys after grandpa died, yeah. Well, it's good that she's got you guys. Oh goodness. What are we leaving out? Love and grace. Jimbo's his wife leaves out too. Hello, Bitsy. How are you? Oh yeah, meat. Yep. My daughter leaves out meat in her lasagna. My wife makes it with. My wife makes lasagna with Italian sausage, um, medium Italian sausage, and my daughter doesn't put any meat in her lasagna, just red sauce and cheese, and all that good stuff. Yeah, she makes a vegetarian lasagna, I guess. Pretty good though. I always get me a piece of each. All right, now we're getting down to the nitty gritty. As long as she doesn't put cottage cheese in it, I don't care if there's meat. There's someone that tried to give me lasagna with cottage cheese one time, and my Sicilian ass threw a fit. You gotta have ricotta cheese, right? It's gotta be ricotta, not cottage. Agree? Or you have something else? We always use ricotta cheese. We don't use cottage cheese either. Just no, no. Cottage cheese is in that stuff you find pre-made in the frozen section. Stingray puts every kind of cheese. Uh, yeah, I guess I get that. No such thing as a bad cheese, except for ricotta. I mean, cottage, cottage cheese. I don't know. I think just the look of the cottage cheese kind of, yeah. Oh, all right, guys and gals. Any more questions about the trial or anything else we can cover before signing off? We got to. I guess I'll just get up early and call the tournament director in the morning since we don't have our schedule yet. It's kind of weird, but see how it works out. Going to be on the replay team at the lab. Aha. I'm happy she's doing well, Josh. I'm glad for you, buddy. Glad for her. It's you may have said is she, or did you say before? 78. I hope I'm lucky enough to see 78. Well, God bless her soul. Well, guys, I guess I better get off here and get in bed. Hunter's already got about a 2-hour head start on me. So you guys have a great night. I might jump on live while I'm driving. Well, not while I'm driving, while I'm riding down the road tomorrow and show you guys a little bit of the scenic view around here a little bit. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me such late hours tonight and just kind of keeping me company on the road here since the kids went to sleep on me. You guys have a good night. This is Jimbo coming to you live from the stand.